So still on governance and management with NGOs, we have very particular NGOs that are known to all of us that operate somewhat differently worldwide. One of them is the Red Cross. And we have two different groups, both which have the name Red Cross. One of them is the International Federation of the Red Cross Societies, Red Crescent and Red Cross Societies, so IFRC. They are simply a federation of all the individual chapters, each country. So the American Red Cross, for example, would be a member, as the Canadian Red Cross and the Australian Red Cross. The Iranian Red Crescent Society. Again, it depends on the religion in the country. And they cooperate together. They're independent organizations within their own country, but they collaborate and work together at an international level and are very, very prominent in international relief activities around the world and development as well. Then there's a separate Red Cross called the International Committee of the Red Cross. They are an international organization similar to the UN, very different from the IFRC. They're based in Switzerland. They're primarily made up of Swiss citizens, so their staff are mainly Swiss. They are a Swiss group based in Geneva, with a lot of international organization rules similar to the UN. They are primarily focused on human rights and access to prisoners and prisoners of conscience, political prisoners and such around the world. Then you have the large-scale advocacy and operational NGOs, that is, NGOs who are very well known generally. They are very active in explaining what they do. They're known to most Americans, for example, that they're large-scale on the advocacy side, and that they're advocating from a public policy point of view on behalf of those who they assist, but they're also very, very operational, working in the field firsthand. Many of you know CARE is based in Atlanta, Georgia. World Vision, Save the Children, Catholic Relief Services, Mercy Corps, and the Salvation Army. These are all large NGOs that are known to most Americans, if nothing else, simply because they are very successful in fundraising and raising their profile in the country. Then you have a number of specialty, what I like to consider more specialty NGOs. Some of them are non-US, so some of them are based in the US. They can still be very well known in the US because they will have chapters or offices based here. One of the most well-known is Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, Doctors Without Borders in French. It's a French-based organization, but there are chapters in different countries. And this is basically doctors, physicians, medical people who take time out from their practice, and they will go for months at a time and volunteer in refugee camps, in field hospitals, and that in particular in very difficult emergency situations. There's a similar one, Nurses Without Borders, many groups like that in the health area. Action contre la faim is another group based in France, very active in French Canada as well. They are an NGO involved particularly in focusing on nutrition and children. Oxfam is a UK-based organization, fairly advocacy-oriented over the years, but have become somewhat more operational. Grameen Bank is another specialty group in that they started many years ago in Bangladesh. They were the ones that started with Muhammad Yunus in developing the concept of microcredit, small loans for groups of individuals who would guarantee the loan among themselves. We will have separate discussion on that type of program. It's been hugely successful in community empowerment and development in many parts of the world. But it started off, Grameen Bank, as an NGO, small NGO in Bangladesh, and now there are programs throughout the world. The Aga Khan Foundation is another very well-known development NGO, very involved in community development, government capacity development around the world. Islamic Relief is a faith-based organization based in the UK, heavily involved again in supporting all of us in terms of our teamwork activities in international development and emergency relief in particular. And then Lutheran World Federation and Church World Service. Lutheran World Federation and Church World Service are actually based in Geneva. They're very active in this country as well. They are faith-based organizations. Similar would be Catholic Relief Services based in the U.S., but then Caritas is the worldwide Catholic Relief Service agency based in Rome at the Vatican.